Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my January wrap up. I hope all of your 2018 has started off on a great note. I have had a fantastic reading month. Usually I'm able to manage around 5 to 6 books per month, and that's a bit of a stretch when I have college or other work. But in Jan I finished 11 books, and only I think 2 to 3 of them were short reads. The first two books I read are the first and second volumes of a manga called Cross Game by Mitsuru Adachi. Cross Game is a manga that revolves around the lives of a boy called Ko and four Tsukishima sisters. It captures their high school experiences, the loss that they have faced in their life, and speaks a lot about friendship and love as well. I don't read a lot of manga, but I could appreciate the artwork and how the artist puts across the story that he envisions. The only thing that prevented me from picking up the rest of the volumes was that I am not into sports, but this manga in particular focuses a lot on baseball. Otherwise, the story is very heartwarming. I gave these two volumes 3 out of 5 stars each. The third book I picked up in Jan is The Woman Who Saw the Future by Amit Sharma. It is an Indian contemporary fiction thriller that chronicles the lives of the Ved family. Sapna Ved, she one day discovers that she has the power to see the future, and she can predict disasters leading to people's deaths around the world. With an exceptional narrative style, this book captures what it's like to have power and the responsibility that comes with it. I loved reading this book. It keeps you on your toes constantly, not knowing what's gonna happen around the corner. It's not predictable at all. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read is Mothering a Muslim by Nazia Iram. This book is a non-fiction that unearths the heavy presence of Islamophobia in Indian society. By investigating how Muslim children are bullied in schools, Nazia interviews teachers, parents, and students to understand the experiences of these children. Presents to you a very horrifying account of what goes on in very elite and well-known schools in India. Sometimes the interviews would get too overwhelming. It's a book that you should pick up because it's important to understand the experiences of people from different communities. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. When Duple Met Her by Sandhya Menon is a book that I had so much fun reading. Half the time I was laughing and the other half I couldn't stop grinning because the sense of humor that Sandhya Menon imbues into her writing style is just so wonderful. It is a story of two individuals, Dimple and Rishi, who come together by way of an old Indian tradition of arranged marriages. Both of their parents plan to set them up. She, being a very dutiful son, he agrees with his parents and he decides to go to SFSU to meet Dimple. The only problem being that Dimple has no idea about this. Her parents have never spoken to her about Rishi. The only reason they agree to send her to SFSU is to set this plan in motion, but she doesn't know that. And when they meet, the whole lot of drama ensues, which I had tons of fun reading about. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars, even though I wanted to give it a 5 star, because sometimes the ideals and values represented in it could get a little too romanticized and not very realistic. However, it is one of my favorite books by Indian authors, and I would highly recommend that all of you check it out if you enjoy YA contemporary fiction. Next, I read Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's Dear Ijuele, or Feminist Manifesto in 15 Suggestions. The author's friend asks her for advice on how to bring up a girl child. She writes this manifesto, which has 15 chapters, each of which are devoted to a certain theme or a certain element about bringing up children in this day and age. She goes over themes such as gender equality, sex, career, body shaming, the freedom to be who you are in a society that's constantly telling you how to be. I feel like this book is important not just for girl children but for children everywhere. I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. There's no question about that. Then I read From Twinkle with Love by Sandhya Menon. After having read When Dimple Met Rishi, I had really high expectations of this book, but was a little disappointed because of the protagonist. Twinkle is an aspiring filmmaker who is just waiting for her big break to get an opportunity to show everybody the kind of films she could be making. She has a crush on this popular boy whose name is Neil Roy, and that boy happens to have a twin brother, Sahil, who is portrayed to be geeky. Sahil is a film critic. So Twinkle decides to make a movie along with him. The story is about her discovering who she really is, who she wants to be. Somewhere along the lines, she gets sidetracked and loses focus on the bigger picture. The plot was great, the writing style was lovely. My only issue is with Twinkle herself. Once you complete reading the book, the picture of Twinkle that remains in your mind is of a girl who's very whiny. She's complaining about having lost her best friend. She's complaining about not being friends with Neil Roy or dating him. She begins to get attracted to Sahil, yet she can't remove the picture of having a future with Neil from her mind. I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars. Then I read Another Brooklyn by Jacqueline Woodson. This is what the cover looks like of Another Brooklyn. This is a story set in 1970s Brooklyn. It follows the lives of 4 friends, Gigi, Sylvia, Angela, and August, while dealing with themes like racism, religious intermingling, and a world that's very unsafe for women. How the story is being told is that there are chunks of instances from the past and the present that are recounted by the author. I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars because at times the narrative sort of digressed and it failed to captivate me entirely. Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart. What a killer book. Genuine Fraud is about 2 friends, Imogen and Jewel, who are running from things in their past. So in each other's company, they find the freedom to be who they want to be. The story is being told in reverse. The first page of the book picks up from the 19th chapter. The mystery sort of has been resolved in the initial part of the book, but how it comes to be is what the rest of the chapters explores. I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. I would give it even more stars if I could. Please read it if you haven't already picked it up. It's one of those YA thrillers that you absolutely must not miss. Just read this book, okay? The next read was Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. If you read the synopsis of this book, it's going to be a little misleading because this book is not about the crime or the mystery behind the disappearance of a fugitive. Rather, it tells us a story of 16-year-old Asa who can't escape her thoughts. She has extreme OCD which manifests in the form of anxiety and paranoia. When her friend Daisy convinces her to investigate the disappearance of Russell Pickett, she hesitantly agrees, and over the course of this adventure, she spirals in and out of control. I like the fact that John Green doesn't really sugarcoat his stories. I gave Turtles All the Way Down by John Green 5 out of 5 stars because it's a very haunting read, and for a change, it's not the cutesy kind of contemporary fiction, but it's a must read. You should definitely go ahead and read it. I will be putting up my complete review of this book soon on the channel. Lastly, I read Happiness by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. This is part of Penguin's annual lecture series, and it's a very short read. There's about 50 pages in here, which are just Dalai Lama's aphorisms on how to be happy in life. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars because I'm not much of a non-fiction reader. That's it for my January wrap-up. I can't believe that I got through so many books. I just hope that Feb is half as great as Jan was. From this video, I'm pretty sure you can tell that the highlights of my January were Turtles All the Way Down by John Green, Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart, The Woman Who Saw the Future by Amit Sharma, and When Duple Met Her by Sandhya Menon. Let me know what books you read in Jan and which was your favorite. See you again. Bye.